Well, the first interview I did in America, someone said to me, "So, why is the album called Down Number 3?" And you think, oh God, it's going to be a long haul. Just seemed obvious, really. We were 3, so that was it.
I didn't see Steve leaving at all. I mean, he'd started to sort of make, yeah, I guess maybe sometimes at these sort of group dinners when everyone started getting past the nicely drunk stage to this kind of, let me tell you something stage. He kind of started, I think he started to make noises that, you know, there's 4 of us in this band. Why can't I have 25% of the material kind of thing, you know?
I think Steve leading was, I'm never quite sure to this day kind of what happened, really. We were mixing a live album and Phil saw him in the streets, and then he said hello, then didn't come in. It was sort of weird, really. I'm not sure we knew what was going on.
The first I heard about it was when I passed him and I stopped on Ladbroke Grove. And because we were going to mix Seconds Out, and I stopped and I said, "Hey, hop in, I'll take you there." You know, he was waiting for a cab. He said, "No, it's okay. I'll call you later." I said, "All right." And I didn't think anything of it. I just went and I got to the studio. I said, "Weird, I saw Steve." You know, he said, "Did he tell you?" I said, "Tell me what?" And Mike and Terry said, "Well, he's left." I said, "Oh, no, he didn't say that." And apparently, I've heard that that. He said that he knew if he'd have got in that car with me, I was the one person that would have talked him out of it.
Well, I was starting to write more and more material, and it was harder and harder to incorporate that into a band format. Plus, I wanted to work with other people. You know, brilliant though the members were of Genesis, and although I have many happy memories, I felt I had to take the risk in order to find out just how good I was on my own.
Everybody in this band was growing older and getting, you know, discovering what they wanted to do that they hadn't done yet, and realising how they could do what they wanted to do better. It couldn't really exist in the same band anymore, so it didn't really surprise me that people kept falling off. But certainly they'd weathered Anthony Phillips leaving, we'd all weathered Peter leaving, and I thought, well, if we did that, then Steve leaving will just be something else that we can just get over.
I've got, you know, very, very fond memories of working with the band, and I learnt a tremendous amount from working with those guys.
Losing Steve, I think, slightly lost an ally in going and doing things a little bit weird sometimes, you know. He would like to do weird things, and I like to do weird things, and we could sort of sometimes drag it that way for a bit longer. When it was just down to me, it was a bit different. But I think then there were 3 also. We were kind of felt we'd done the idea of trying to keep the songs a little more concise to get more ideas on the album was quite appealing. Something we'd sort of wanted to do, you know, regardless. And you know, even with 1 or 2 of the songs I wrote on this, because I wrote the song, say, Burning Rope on this album, which is kind of like, it looked like when I was writing it was going to be like One for the Vine. And in fact, there was the other sections that were in the song. And then I decided to kind of abbreviate it and not make it quite such a long thing. A, because I didn't want comparisons to that, and B, I thought, well, I've done that, you know. I think I'll just leave it for this album and not do that. And then, so we could get more different ideas.
I think we just started to sort of maybe relax a bit, actually. You know, we were always very intense young men, trying to prove that we were the best and the greatest at everything. And suddenly, I don't know, you're getting a bit older, you had kids, and maybe you just start to, in life, not try so hard. Songs like Follow You, Follow Me and Many Too Many, for example, don't feel like anyone's trying at all. I think that's why they work well.
I thought I was lucky. I thought that I'd got it. How can I be so blind?
Probably have a slight problem here because the 2 other tracks that I would really pick out are both ones that I wrote, which were Undertow, which I was kind of pleased. It's sort of slightly different way for me to write, really, where there's sort of, you know, slightly less chord dependent and a bit more dependent. The melody and the piano part is very much sort of got the melody and the chords all enveloped in it. And the other one that I like a lot is Many Too Many, which again is a love song, which, yeah, I wrote the lyrics. So I was obviously coming out of my shell here. It's still a bit weird, it's not totally straightforward, but it's all I remember about Many Too Many was at the time we were doing it, But trying to say to Phil, yes, you can sing Mama. It's all right. You can sing Mama, which is the chorus is oh Mama, you know, just help me find the way and everything. And I said, Stevie Wonder uses Mama in his lyrics all the time, so you can do it. Because he was so against, you know, he felt very self-conscious about doing it. Of course, about a couple of years later, there was a song which we did, obviously called Mama, where it's the main lyric all throughout the song. But at the time, it's sort of, you know, perhaps he felt a bit self-consciously trying to be, you know, what we weren't. But I think it sounds good. I know no one ever felt at the time that it didn't work from that point of view.
I've always felt proud of the song because actually it's just a simple songs are hard to write, but it's got a little bit of a sort of quality to it. I think that is quite strong.
When we were recording it, the guy who was our engineer producer at the time, Dave Henschel, didn't rate it at all, and so he was a bit dismissive about it. And so we did a mix of it, which wasn't terribly good, I don't think. And then we played it to the record company, and they said, that's a hit, you've got to do it. So we went back and remixed it and got it a bit better.
Like most of our things, it's an accident. I remember Follow You Follow Me. At the time, we saw it as being a longer song, I think. We're going to try and take that riff and make it into a solo song. It wasn't going for a song especially. But like most accidents in music, I had that guitar riff and Tony started playing some chords underneath it. I mean, you know, and then Phil just started singing along, and it just seemed it came together very easily. And I also remember something about the lyrics, for once. The easiest song to write lyrically I've ever written in my life. It took about 10 minutes. I sat down and it just came out very easily. They're not astounding words, but I think being simple and not being embarrassing is often quite hard. They just, and I thought, well, I can't be that easy, you know. And I thought they're so simple. Stay with me, and I thought, I don't know, you know, we'd come from a much more complicated background of lyric writing, and I thought I can't just do that, can I? But it's an interesting song because it's a very simple song, and I think the way Phil sang it just captured a certain simplicity and mood that was a little pop song, but actually quite a genuine little piece of music.
It was just as another step on that ladder, you know, that made us a bigger band than we were before, and you know, playing to more people, more interest, more play on the radio. Suddenly, a few girls in the audience, you know.
I remember reading Pete Townsend in an article saying about Follow You Follow Me. I thought it was a great little, on the radio, a really nice little song that sort of was just classy without being simple, without being at all trite, you know.
I remember when Chester Thompson joined the live band playing drums, he said that on the Weather Report bus that they always used to play that song. And I thought, all right, God, we've done something right if Weather Report like it. I mean, if Wayne Shorter and Joe Zawinul can listen to this and say, this English stuff's cool, man. I thought we've done something right. So in a way, it was, for me, you know, because I kind of used to nail this box down, so why can't we do something that's, you know, kind of edgy? Why can't we do something that's kind of cool and hip, you know? Anyway, it looks like we had done something, although then it became a pop single, which kind of took the edge off the edgy, cool, hip thing. But it actually, you know, it's still played on the radio today, and it's kind of, you know, it's a lot of people's favourite song from that period.
You must remember this came out in the middle of sort of, I don't know, was it just after punk? I don't know. It was kind of a strange thing. We were sort of still surviving. I couldn't quite work out why, because everyone else seemed to have gone. You know, ELP had died, Yes had died, and everything like this, and we were still going along. And we were lucky to have perhaps this hit single, which sort of came out suddenly in the middle of all this, and we were okay.